All the way live, 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 live. We're gonna go live. Going live, y'all. All right, y'all. As we always do on every Sunday, now it's 6 to 8 o'clock. We'd like to welcome everybody to Northwest Austin Council. And today, just like every other Sunday, we're here to say there are a multitude of things going on in our community, and we need to know how to solve these issues. I mean, sad to say that these issues have been inundating our community for decades, but we have to push on. We have to come up with solutions. We have to come up with reasons and figure out how we plan to combat these issues. And it could be done. Trust me, it can be done. I'm living proof that it can be done. So, with everybody's help and no further ado, just reach out and say hey to everybody out there in the internet world, let's just say, the world of the internet. How's everyone doing today on this illustrious Sunday? Sunday, as they say. How are we doing, y'all? Miss J?
I'm great. I'm doing good. Thank the Lord. Like Ella said, we're above ground. And we're going to make it.
Yeah, I'm good too.
We have to, but they say we all we got.
That's right. We all we got.
We all we got.
You know what? I think, and then too, this is I think we'll learn to work together and be together. I think this is a whatever you would call it, but I think this is a bring us more closer together because it's so much, and we are so far apart, and so I think this situation would bring us together, and we'll work together, and we can make some things happen. That's how I see it.
And when you say this situation, what are you exactly saying or meaning?
Okay, okay. What I mean is, I'll say it like this. In the past, it's like everybody's been for self. In whatever situations, everybody has been for self. Mm-hmm. And now I think whatever the situation is, like say for instance, the community, the community needs certain things, want to do certain things. I think that the other people that has been to themselves would come down to the little people and try to grasp it for the little people, and we all come together. That's what I'm saying.
Or you saying is that the adversity that we live in is going to bring people close together because we don't have anything else?
Right. So we have to work together in order to get something, to make something happen.
Right. We're being forced to.
Yes.
Right. Whatever it takes to make people, they say Alderman Mitch, she uses the term, when you say community, that means come unite. If you break the word down, come and unite.
Yes.
So we need to come together and unite.
Yes. Yes.
So with the adversity that's being put in front of us due to, let's just be real about it, the political landscape that's at hand, and we all know what that political landscape is. How do we move forward? How can we get the things we need to get us, get us where we need to be in the next 4 years? How do we do that? How do we get those things? That's the reality. How do we survive? Let's be real. That's the word. How do we survive? What are some of the things you guys think or see as being surviving initiatives, surviving pointers, surviving measures? I mean, we know that they're cutting programs. We hope that that healthcare won't be one of the things that ends up being, you know, being compromised, because everybody needs healthcare. If you don't have healthcare, you can't survive, right? So if they're talking about cutting, one of the things that was spoken of, they're cutting grants, all federal loans, and I'm thinking, how do you take away all the federal loans? Everything that has a federal loan, you know, pretty much. But you know, just some thoughts. They're taking away federal loans. They say they took away the Department of what is it called? Civil. What is it? Not civil liberties. I forgot the name of the department. Civil rights department. I'm like, how do you get rid of the civil rights department? It makes no sense. You know, civil rights is everything. That means your ability to walk down the street is part of your civil rights.
Hello.
So how do you get rid of that department, you know?
Well, I think he looking at it through his distorted eyes, because he don't need civil rights. He don't walk around without bodyguards. You know, he's privileged. He don't have none of that stuff that we need. Regular people need to function or go on with life. He don't have a problem with that.
That's very much true, because he's above the law.
Right. He's Teflon Don.
And that's the strange thing. People don't have a problem having a person above the law, but the law has to be thoroughly pushed on individuals. And sometimes the law is pushed on us to the point where we don't have any rights. So, yeah, that could be a trouble situation.
Let me call you back. I'm on podcast.
You know, that could be a very bad situation. I mean, we see it at hand already. Then you got Elon Musk, which they're saying that he doesn't need the money, but he needs the power so that he can make sure he gets more money. And they said one of the reasons being that he's over the Federal Reserves. If he's over the Federal Reserves, he can manipulate his competition's money. And I'm like, wow, I never thought about that. How does he manipulate his own competition's money? Or doesn't allow his competition to have money? So, I mean, there's a lot of things that's going on that we really are not totally clear about. But you better believe there's some manipulation going on, some real thorough manipulation going on that the American people can't even begin to figure out, you know.
Well, you know, I'm gonna bring up something that I've been thinking, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but someone had told me that the voting machines, Elon Musk made them. They're in his company. And I said, well, it's fixed. Trump didn't win. Elon Musk made him win. Because if he made the voting machines, he knows the ins and outs.
Like the idea of you having two more.
Then he can manipulate it any way he wanna.
And that's probably what's going on.
And they said, well, I've heard That is the reason why that this president won.
Mm-hmm. That's the way I feel. I don't think he won.
No, that's what we're saying. But that's
Mhm.
what happened, you know.
There's some
Yeah.
trickery going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good point. I mean, but nobody really pushed it, you know?
Nope,
You
they
think
didn't
about
want to act a fool like he acted a fool. They don't want to do that. They want to have some modicum of respect for the system.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, you can say that. But it's just funny how everybody just gave up. You know, they just kind of gave up and gave in to this guy. And here we are now. Excuse me. Oh, honey, you walked in, I started sneezing. Hello, everyone. Another one. You know, let me get you on. Let me get Arnold on here. Oh no, I don't want. Oh, you in the wrong one, Arnold. Let me see. You're in the wrong chair. You can stay there. Kyle is. He was. But yeah, once you check the other one, the other chair. I don't have to recheck. I don't have to rename it. Everything. I thought you did. You said it's coming next week. Next week, okay. Cool. Just got back from the car. You did. Yeah, she did.
Is anybody there? Something's wrong with my phone or something.
Can you hear us?
No, I can't hear you. It's telling me my microphone is unmuted, but my video has stopped. I don't know.
I see you. I can tell your video is on blank, but the mic is not. The mic is still
Okay.
hot. That's you, Miss D?
I wonder if it's this new phone, but I'm gonna try to fix it. Let's see what's it says I'm in safe driving mode. Whatever that means.
I don't know what that means. But nevertheless, we were just saying the adversity that could be at hand based on this new presidency is a scary sight, you know, to think about. What's your thoughts, Arnold?
Well, he's mentioned everything he's going to attempt to accomplish in this last term. So it doesn't surprise me. And executive orders, he signed, about almost over 100 now.
100.
Constitutionality of them are questionable. So now we have tariffs that's actually started, yesterday, Saturday?
Really?
Yeah, against these countries, and those countries don't go along with his pay to play, then he'll levy a percentage of how much of a tariff he'll impose on their goods and services for their coming in here. Having said that, I think it's unanimous consent that now people will be faced with paying higher costs for everything. Food, medicines, you name it.
Well, we already paying high. Eggs, $4 something a dozen.
Yeah, I mean, you show me where you got them for $4 a dozen. I'll make sure I let somebody know.
How much you seen them for, Arnold?
$8.
$8 a dozen.
Well,
What?
Food for Less got it for $3.29 for the extra large eggs and $2.99 for regular eggs.
Oh, wow. Food for less. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I just went there today and got mine.
Okay.
It said $8. It's almost $1 egg, 75 cents an egg.
Yeah, I mean, some geographical locations in the country, that's what, I just happened to watch the news and they were flashing across the country on price of eggs.
Really?
So I myself, since the focus is on eggs now and what people are paying, I'm thinking like, to me, you know, with birthday parties, celebrations, say a birthday cake in your case.
Yeah, you gotta have
And
eggs.
I'm at Brown Sugar Bakery on the south side. So now, when they get ready to sell a 3, 4, whatever amount tier cake, at that time, before this outbreak of egg prices, it was $40-some for a 3-tier cake.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you can add probably $12 more to that. So I mean, the individuals out there, they know about baking cakes. I just eat them and consume them. So
Nah.
that's it for me as far as, you know, there'll be higher prices and inflation
And eggs are in everything,
and
right?
stock market. And yeah, there's no going down on the interest rate. You can see it with future. Federal, what's the guy with the Federal Reserve,
Elon
Jerome
Musk.
Powell, he told Trump, take a hike.
Elon Musk?
No, Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve.
Oh.
And Trump can't fire him or can't do anything with them people. They independent of the president and all,
Mhm.
Congress and everything.
So what's Elon Musk's position?
You know, get on people's nerves.
Oh, I thought it was his job. Get on his nerves.
Get on everybody's nerves. Hello, Miss Jacobs.
But I'm saying, what's his cabinet position? Supposed to be on
He
that.
has none.
Joking.
No.
So I thought he got hired as something.
No, well, what was reported is he was going to have an office in the White House. The chief of staff indicated that she's not going to have that because when announcements are made, that he follow up with an announcement that's counterproductive to that messaging on what Trump was talking about. For example, that amount of money spent on AI.
Mm-hmm.
What, you know, was gonna bring and all that, $500 billion or something like that. And his messaging was, well, those people don't have no money. I'm the richest man on earth. I should know who has and who has not.
Mm.
And then the Chinese government come out, 3 days or 4 days later, and show all that was overvalued. So you just take it for what you see or hear or read, and then come to your own conclusion.
All I know is it's a real mess, man.
But what about the boycott? You all been talking about the boycotts to the Targets and Wendy's and Walmart and all that?
What's the boycotts for?
Oh, go out there to blackboycott.com or blackboycott.org. That's Lena Turner, which used to be the congressional representative for her district in Ohio, was on the Roland Martin's program.
Mm-hmm.
And this is known, and I guess, gathering more notoriety throughout the country in regards to now leveraging the black economic dollar as a balancing on all this DEI talk one way or the other and racism and just, you know, it's counterbalance. So if we're going to suffer, everybody got to suffer.
I don't even understand this DEI stuff.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah, but I mean, what is that even? What does this already have an effect on black people? Nobody talks about that part. what does, nobody walks down the street and says, oh, that's DEI, or this is DEI. I mean, reality. What does it really mean and how does it really affect it?
Well, I know Trump alleged that that incident in Washington came about as a result of DEI. And the definition in his mind is that due to the Obama administration and Biden administration allowing individuals, certain individuals or groups to assess employment in those fields of employment, it leads to not opening up the process, you would say, more competitively speaking, to get the brightest, which in his case is indicating only white men or white in general know and have a professionalism and resourceful skills and intelligence and profile to assess certain employment areas that's unique to them only. Not to minorities, not to blacks, not to gender, women or males, or their lifestyle, conduct, and behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of around there. And as a result of that accident, his thinking was the new individuals, which would be control towers, pilots, or whomever, as it relates to logistics, flying, or air traffic, or aviation, that the brightest people was not hired, which meant as a result of that, that's how this incident occurred.
Yeah.
And as a result, 67 dead bodies was laying down in that body of water as a result of it.
I don't think he ever thought about what he was saying. The brightest person wasn't even speaking when he was talking about this.
Well, he didn't count himself.
He didn't count himself. I'm like, how come we have this administration that constantly talks about what was? We ain't talking about what you doing to fix what the problems are. It's always what was.
He always brings Biden up about Biden is the reason why this happened. Biden is the reason why that happened.
Boogeyman. Everybody is the problem, but he ain't got no solution.
Right. Everybody else got a problem but him.
Like, we don't care about who, what, and what you gonna do to fix what the problem is.
Right.
If you knew all of this was the problem, why you didn't stop it?
Right, right.
Beyond listening to what's being reported, I would like to ask everyone on this podcast call, so what suggestions, if any, would you all offer up, or plans or strategies to counter this nonsense?
This ridiculousness.
Yeah, ridiculous, call it what it is. You can't say it's hypothetical, huh?
Well,
So what plans, if any, you all can discuss or think about that could be utilized as a strategy to counter this nonsense?
I mean, one of the things I would encourage is that he goes for a third term, because if they invoke a third term, that allows President Obama to run again, and we could stop all of this.
That's not an option. So it would take what they call a constitution. They can never come up 3/4 of the states to ratify
think the Congress could do it?
No, the diversity of it is such, they can never come up with a body of 3/4.
No.
No, but you got so many members of the House that's just black and others that it's unlikely they would get the vote out of there, yet alone the Senate. And then the states would have to come up with it. 3/4 of the states of the United States.
But Arnold, my question is, some of the stuff that Trump is doing is unconstitutional. So how can he bypass the Constitution? The Constitution was only made for people who respect law, who respect government, who respect a process. This fool don't respect nothing and nobody, and he feel he can do whatever he want to do.
That's right.
Now, how can we circumvent anything? If he feel he can destroy the Constitution and do all of this stuff, this man is gonna do it. And he don't
Well,
have no
the
qualms with disobeying the law.
But the Supreme Court gave him total autonomy to do whatever. Remember the Supreme Court back in April last year said that the president has the right to do whatever he wants to do, and
That's
he would
right.
he would have ramifications put towards him.
So how is this gonna, the rules and laws you were just stating, how's that gonna help us when the Supreme Court told him he could do whatever in the hell he want to do? Now that's something we need to do. Get rid of the Supreme Court.
It would take his birthright executive order, which he just wrote up and said, in effect, as of this day, no longer this, no longer that. Well, judicially speaking, that you can go into court, cause somebody proposed something, it's gonna take the courts to either uphold it or dispose it. So, addressing your question, that would be the first step. And then you take it from there to start the process. Now, each one of those executive orders, I'm sure individuals have studied them and gone through it for one reason or the other. And in doing so, then they would decide whether it's constitutional or not. In that case, whether they go into court or not. And then if the courts uphold it, that speaks for itself, procedurally and constitutionally. But if they don't uphold it, then it addresses that and it's null and void. Now, politically speaking, it would seem as a strategy, you leverage that for the next election, which is later this year on governorships, but more importantly on co-equal branches of government. The House of Representatives comes up in 2 years. House of Representatives.
This is a stop sign. Turn left onto North Elston Avenue.
Well, I mean,
But Arnold, you still talking about legalities and what it used to be like. You're not speaking upon. We have a rogue president in office. He can do whatever he want to do. How can we?
No. I mean, not to argue the point, first of all. But secondly, because he do something, if there's a question, I'm just saying, that's why you go in the court to say, hey, check into this, and can he or she do it or not? That becomes the next process. It ain't so much because Trump said, I can do this because I'm president. Well, they struck it down. The court said, no, you can't. So all I'm saying is some things he will be able to implement as an executive order, and some things he won't. Now, we can call it his opinion, or he can do it, or the Supreme Court gave him. That's to be decided legally speaking. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to say what he can and can't do. If there's any question to see the validity of it, that's where it begins and ends, right there in that court. And then there's steps to it, and say the first court to get to is the district court. They say like the birthright. That judge say you can't do that. Well, there's a process that he said, I want to appeal that to the appellate.
What's the birthright? I don't understand. What's that?
Saying any person born in the United States, if their parent wasn't already a U.S. citizen because they born here, that don't establish their birthright or their citizenship. Now, a lot of that was made law back in whatever was in the 1800s. Okay. Trump said with his executive order that no longer that's going to be in effect. In other words, whoever told him this way you do it or this understand, he ran with it. Well, the first step along deciding this constitutional or not was at the district court. And that's where all throughout the country, those states attorney general representing them states went in the court, say, hey, this impacted my citizens of the state, so we'll know where we stand for all other kind of reasons than one. Rule on this, and they ruled on it, and they said, no, that's unconstitutional. Now, Trump, I'm sure he said, I had a problem with that. That judge is an Obama-appointed judge, or Biden, or Clinton, or Ronald Reagan. I mean, that's politics. He said, I'm going to appeal it. Well, okay. Fill it up or whatever you want to do.
But what's the end result?
Well, the end result is once it's dealt with to the point where it becomes clear, like I said, the Supreme Court is the highest court, if it goes up that high, if it go up to that. It acts well for the plaintiffs as well as the defendants. Could exercise a judicial processes to arrive at an answer, final answer. Don't mean sometimes they're gonna win, don't mean they just gonna lose. But you don't know unless you exercise those steps.
So then, do you see this next 4 years of a lot of just court litigation?
Yeah, that's a strategy. Because he implements, say you time up in court, which is what Trump did, remember? Tie up that in them cases, and he was running to stay out of jail. Well, had he not done that, he'd have probably been in jail now. Wouldn't be talking about no Trump. But the reality of it is, it's utilized as a strategy for no other reason. And I mean, you can't blame the man for doing that because that's his life. He decided. So, in this case, the strategy he utilized, they did it under Obama, did it under Biden. Every time they didn't like something, they said, oh, we are going to go into court, tied up, and find some judge who ruled on it, some Republican district judge appointed by whomever, and this judge then they say, oh, we don't like that decision. Think of the thing like this, they blocked the student loan stuff, remember? Or forgivable loan stuff. Some things went through that was able to be forgiven and students, some things they didn't. But it was challenged in court. So that plays on both sides of the aisle as a strategy. Call it ever what you want, but it's utilized.
So stalling for time. That's
all it. Well, time.
So what's the count in Congress right now? How many Democrats? How many Republicans?
It's 4 more Republicans on the House of Republican side than Democrats.
In the House of Representatives.
House of Representatives. So if
Okay.
you do the math, you have 435 House of Representatives. Oh, yeah, 435. And then in Senate, you have 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats.
Okay.
So that's a total of 535. The Speaker is third in line.
And the Speaker is who?
Mike Johnson, a Republican congressman out of Louisiana in the House of Representatives.
Okay. So the Republicans have the House of Representatives.
By 4 votes. Right now, they only have it by 2. This open seats election is going to be coming up later this year. And that's not, we're seeing anyone just decide they're going to retire. Or basically, no one died, but things happen. But if vacancies occur, it is what it is, and Republicans can't afford to lose one more. They can't afford to lose one more vote. One vote, that is, on any legislation. So they're talking about all these tax cuts and all that. If one Republican decide I'm not going to go along with what Trump's talking about, it's over on the tax cuts. And then any legislation that will be proposed, the way it takes co-equal branches of government before anything becomes law. House of Representatives, Senators, and the President, and then it must pass the test on the constitutionality of that that's being everybody in agreement. Does it pass muster on the Supreme Court? That's why when one house come out with another, they convene and talk about the maybes and possibilities and implementation. And then it goes probably for a further legality check, and is this okay? Is this legal to do that? And then everybody sign off, then it's law.
Mm-hmm. So they have the House, they have the Congress. What about the Senate?
Who, Representatives? Republicans?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have a majority vote.
Okay, so they got that too. Okay, and then they have the executive branch because of the presidency, right?
Yeah. And the judicial branch, also the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, and they control Speaker of the House.
Right, because they're in the House of Representatives.
So you got the Vice President, the President, and the Speaker of the House, third in charge of the country, all Republicans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, historically speaking now, this is nothing new other than the Supreme Court change in the sense from when you go back to Obama, or even before that, as far as the balance or the mindset, how it changed from maybe people thought of the Supreme Court as a more balanced perspective, lawfully speaking, and then it swung one way to the right, conservatively.
So there are 9 Supreme Court justices, right?
9, yeah.
And which and what percentage or what number of them are lean more liberal or Democrat?
Well, you got 3
Democrat.
women, which you got
Democrat.
Sotomayor. You got Justice, the black woman,
But Venus, no.
Justice Brown. Anyway,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, and then you have 2 more. You got 2 gentlemen, or 1 gentleman. And you got 3 liberals, you might say. 3, yeah, a man.
Which really doesn't hold up anything.
No, because you got 5, you got 6 on the other side. You got Roberts,
which is double.
and 3 what
2 to 1.
Yeah. Then you had 3 that
And,
Trump, I ain't calling him president.
and the sad part about that is they're there for life.
Yeah.
And 3-1 for life.
Now the co-equal branches of government could have proposed legislation and came up with an expansion or decreasing of the judicial Supreme Court judges and opposed term limits if they chose to.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, a lot of talk about doing that. When the Democrats, when Biden won, and let me go back even further. When Obama won,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed to be a pattern, whoever goes in as president, they go in with all three branches of government. See? Obama went in with 62 Democrat senators. Supermajority.
Mm-hmm.
Then they hammered him over Obamacare and scared the hell out of people, you know, and then they came to midterms, he took a shellac, you might say. They lost the House, and then 2 years after that, they lost the Senate. Well, even though he got reelected, but then that's when the Republicans started utilizing their strategy and tactics to start building up. They won not only did they have the House, then they won the Senate, then they won the president. Because after he retired after winning 2 terms, he couldn't run again. He defeated Hillary.
Hmm.
And then he went in with all three branches like he did this time.
Mm-hmm.
2 years after that, Pelosi got back control of the House. 2 years after that, Biden won, and they won the Senate. So Biden went in with the same thing that Obama, then Trump, then Biden. Now Obama back with what? Three branches of government going in.
You mean Trump?
Trump, yeah.
But the only difference is he has the Supreme Court.
He appointed 3, and how he got that was, everybody out there listening know, when Ruth Bader retired and somebody else, McConnell held that seat out. Okay? So they played hardball. Matter of fact, and then when Garland, before he became Attorney General, he was nominated to be a Supreme Court justice.
Mm-hmm.
See, so his strategies utilized in all kind of ways, both sides. So this ain't just the Democratic strategy. Power being what it is, have an opportunity.
Yeah, but we need to look at how this affects people. Quality of life for people.
What they know how it affects them. That's what elections have consequences. When people vote against their own interests, this is what they get. I mean, like with Trump now. If the man's policies and the way he handled the pandemic wasn't enough to convince people who support him, I just don't know for life of me what it was. When their own flesh and blood died as a result of talking about drinking bleach. Take a red light and put it up to your face or something and scare the virus out of your body or something. If that wasn't enough, Steve, I don't know what would have them.
Well, I mean, like the viewers just said, they don't believe he actually won. There could be some truth to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he been saying that. He been saying that. He felt he should never lost in 2020. So this ain't unique. How do we really know?
Right.
Democrats may be using it as a means of whooping up the base or get everybody fired up. The simplest way to address all this is win. Plain an outright win. And then let the other side come up with an explanation as to why they lost. and this ain't unique to Democrats right now, because I just explained before Obama, you had Bush, you had Obama, then you had Trump, then you had Biden, and so now you got Trump, and after Trump, you're gonna have a Democrat.
You
So
think so?
I'm optimistic for that. Well, we'll know in 2 years, and again, this is historically speaking the pattern. You know what I'm saying? It ain't me just, I'm just looking at over 20 years. Obama was in 2008 when he ran or got in. So all I'm saying is, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. Now, it may be historically speaking, as far as other matters, or historically speaking, about political matters. It's a pattern there, there's a record there, and there's a reason for that. So we'll know. Records are meant to be broken, same as patterns. But so far, it's been holding, and the only thing will tell is time. Now, Arnold's found out his opinions like I know. I'm just saying, looking at the history and the information that's now a record, and so I'm optimistic to just see if it holds, and frankly, it does hold.
Right.
So all them changes that will come about as now when you get to be president, whoever him or her, that knowing that what he has done and utilizing and the Supreme Court upheld it, then that gives that next person the right to do what they do. Unimpeded, do the same thing, because they all write executive orders and say, well, I ain't gonna do that anymore. I mean, that was good for him or her.
Well, I'm just thinking, how does this? Let's go beyond the next 2 years. Let's go to the next 8. You know, is this going to be a back and forth thing? You know, this year, that year Republican, this year Democrat. I mean, at the while, it's going to all start looking like it's the same people.
Well, the pattern, that's all I can say. I don't have no idea. I can only say if the pattern holds, which is a historical pattern over 2 decades, and you and I have been living through right now something 500 batting average as far as Democrat and Republican president, which means on balance, that's what it's been. It ain't because we won in one way or the other. It's just that we lived through that, we were younger, and now we're older and we can understand some things much better as a result of. But having said that, there's a historical pattern there. We can go back and look at all that information and data and why people may or may not, but doesn't change what is a fact now. So in the future, again, only thing to say, time will tell.
Right. Well, we just hope that there is some room for all that are in need, because what I've been hearing lately is a lot of programs being cut, but you know, these programs, they hurt children, they hurt seniors, they hurt American people.
What I think we should worry about in regards to that is those are budgeted monies that's already been approved and okay for release. If I'm not mistaken, the federal budget is up, begin and ends on July the 1st, or maybe from January 1st to December 31st. Now, it's after that budgeted cycle that those monies were approved for whatever reason, then that's where the concern comes up. Because president cannot impound that money. The Supreme Court has already ruled on that. I mean, he must free that money and let it go to where it was okay. That's why each congressman get their menu ideas and how much funding they're gonna need and request put it through the budgetary process, and both sides with the president agreeing to it, sign off on it. That's the done deal. That was done before Trump got in office. That's why he wanted them to then okay the expansion of increasing the debt, which they wouldn't do. So they know it without any restraint. This man don't care. He already showed where he blew the so-called deficit out of whack. There's no reason why expectation of worrying about it. But that being the case, back to the budget and those monies already approved and allocated. And constitutionality of it addressed that saying it's the House of Congress in their process that power purse or whatever okay it. And you just give us our request from the legislative branch on what items you'd like to see funded, and we'll agree or disagree and let you know. Or they'll shut down the government, see? Everybody must be on one accord. And if they're not on one accord, there's no budget. So they've not been agreed to pay anybody.
They gotta work together still,
They've
right?
got it, it's by law, and trust me, as much MAGA and liberal as they all say, don't bring home no money to your district, you won't be there to represent your district. Even terrorists need money.
Yeah, but what if the Republicans block the Democrats from getting money to their district, then who looks bad? Not the Republicans.
It is not so much that and I understand what you're saying, but all of them are there to represent their district. See, that block can only go so far, but generally speaking, they're gonna come to a consensus because no one can represent you unless they represent your interests.
Okay.
Okay? And your interests have dollar bills attached to it. See, why should I worry about your household when I got my own household run? Right? Your budget different from mine, right? One thing we kind of agree on, younger representatives or newer representatives may not go in with much say on how much they can get in representing their district. But there is a bottom line based number. Generally they say, okay, you're here now, we know you gotta represent and you're gonna get the base. Just like any entry level job. Work your way up.
Get your scraps.
Get your scraps. So hey, both of them play that. I don't care how mega you are or how liberal you are.
So they all there's gonna be some divvying up of everything. It's just how much you gonna get. That's all.
How much you gonna get?
Okay. Okay, I want to ask this. Okay, now last month when we was up at the library up on Central, okay, the Congress had put in for this money. Illinois got however many millions of dollars, and Chicago got so many $1 million, Cicero got so much $1 million or whatever, however. So now this money is already here. So when is these communities gonna know what they're gonna get or how they're gonna get it, or for the programs or however way? The money is here now. The Congress made it possible for us to get the money. So when,
was brought to the state of Illinois. Go ahead. There was $446 million in this check. She hears me.
Did you hear Miss J?
now you said what now?
$446 million. 200 and some was going to outside the city. Or,
Yes,
Well,
one
yes,
of the
Cisco
other.
got so much. Uh-huh.
Go ahead, 220, go ahead. Just say they split it, go ahead with your point.
Go ahead, Ms. J, you were saying?
No. I was saying, okay, Cicero got so much. Chicago got so much. So what I'm saying is the money is here. That's what was said at the meeting when we went last month. The money is here. So now, who's gonna put the money into the community?
Those elected representatives through the budgetary process, being requests for proposals or under their own rule, administrations of, just say, discretionary funds for whatever legitimate reason that's spelled out and why you can spend this money from the federal government for that cause, okay?
Okay,
So you can't expect a person, we live in Chicago, to tell the people in Cicero what to do with that money, right?
right, I understand that. Mhm.
All right. So through those legislative bodies under home rule, who have the constitutional authority to dispose of those funds that come in from the federal government, brought by your elected officials who advocated and lobbied to bring that money based upon a certain amount of money that would be necessary, needed to address those concerns dealing with the flooding. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, so when you say who, those will be where you start. If you living in Cicero, or you living throughout the county, or you living in Chicago, through the wards, through the city council, or the mayor, or that department that would deal with it. There's home rule authority in the process to make sure it's done appropriately and legally.
Okay, now, I understand what you're saying as far as that money that they were discussing this past month. But now listen to this. You remember back here, I think in the fall when the homeowners that had the flood, the mayor got, what was that, 5 million for that flood, right?
Right.
Okay, now, so each household was supposed to get $25,000 worth of construction in their basement, right?
Right.
So, how long is it going to take people to get this process done? Because this was done last year. We went through this last year. So, do you know when they're supposed to get started?
They're still trying to figure out how this is going to roll out. So we probably won't know anything to the end of this month.
But more importantly, Ms. Jacobs, the federal authorities who are allocating the money, which was approved and was out there, for certain conditions on assessing that money would be my concern on who can get it for what reason. You see, just getting money for the sake of getting, in my mind, there's an open question on that, I think, And so, as Steve indicated, and I've been reading and asking him as well as others, what's going to be the reason why you could be eligible or qualified to assess what, if any, money at all, you see? So that's why I think, it's just my opinion now, I don't know. But I've been reading, I've been found the money's been allocated, they've already done it. But there wasn't no information on who can get that money or who qualified for that money and what all is involved with it. Okay? That's the only question you seem to have to worry about, and how much, if any. Now, I don't think it's hard to figure out. It's just one or three questions. How much, who can, and for what reason? That's the only three things necessary to know. If it's gonna be drawn along geography, which they already indicated the zones and the areas in the city or the county or the state, the areas impacted. That's why the money was brought in for that. Dollar amount was placed on that based on the best guess estimate on the severity and amount of the damage. Then get it in those areas, and then you draw up the reason why individuals can assess or qualify to receive this money for whatever reason, and how much, and for, you know, whether it's based on income or what, we don't know. But Steve indicated, and others who've asked questions, so that you can get some money and don't have to pay it back, or I can get some money and don't have to pay it back, I'm gonna do it.
And that's 420-some million on the table. I mean, no, 220-some million just for the city, and another 220-some million for the county.
For the county and other areas in the state that had the same. And remember now, these congressional representatives representing those impacted areas was involved in the lobbying and the effort to bring it about. And it goes to our point, whether you're Republican or Democrat, when it comes to representation, people don't care about no party identification. If they need some money, are you there doing the job to bring home some money to resolve their concerns? See? Or go work with Danny, or Danny work with Congressman, work with a Republican, because they all do it. So let's not get caught up on party identification. Like Janet Jackson said, whatever you done for me later, that's the only thing that's concerned when it comes to being elected official. How effective you are in bringing home the bacon. And to our distinguished Congress, he has brought home billions over his tenure and continue to bring home billions.
That's one of the things we have to be very aware of. That, you know, how Congressman Davis,
we'd have been in bad shape right now, especially bad shape. You keep talking about his age and all that. And Mitch McConnell and some with congressmen being within the 20, if not, the number went down maybe 18, 9 Congress. There's just the thought of there's more senior representatives older than him. I think the gentleman in Michigan was in office over 50-some years as a congressman. So he retired. Dingo, I think it was. So these people looking at who can help make a difference in bringing home through different administrations, because they respect seniority. That's the way the system functions. You get more, yeah, with your party in control, because you can ask for more. But generally speaking, you don't get what you earn. You get a little more fine. You don't stop.
So age does matter.
Seniority matters. If we did not have,
but you're not going to get seniority without age.
No, you got that right. These people out there telling me he old and they need to sit down. It ain't just him personally. It's just that's the system of government. McConnell is still there, even though he's not speaker on the Senate side. He's going to retire maybe this fall. Man. He did enough damage on Obama and Biden. Everybody know when Obama won, they went and held a meeting that night, and how could we mess him up to be a one-term president, see? So, the thoughts are, it's a political strategy power game that's in play all the time. They don't stop. People eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff. But the same, they do it on all sides. You in politics, they ain't for the faint of heart.
Right.
Love, loss. And they all know one another. They win one, they lose something, they go out and lunch and drink and party, their kids interact, and they do one another favor.
So at the end of the day, what does the lay of the land look like for poor people?
I think we need to leverage one thing we all control is the economics. I'm just saying to an extent is how you want to spend your money. If you do it collaboratively, our Civil Rights Day showed us and said that we have enough, we've always had enough intelligent organizing effort. All we need to do is come up with a strategy to leverage what we can do to impact, to make a difference. Because when it comes to companies talking about getting rid of DEI and all that stuff, okay, you get rid of DEI, it's the detriment of your bottom line. You want to not deal with black folks or minorities or women or whatever you call it, then okay, you won't make no money off of it. Your business don't become as profitable. And other, strategies. I don't have all the answers, but that's a number one place. Because when the bus boycott say if we have to suffer, everybody gonna suffer. They ended it. They didn't end it because you were successful. They ended it because they can't make no money. They don't care about you being successful, but if you're successful at their expense, why not join in with you? But now you're making some versus losing nothing, losing everything. So I think some of those strategies need to be utilized and thought of again. So there is one now that's ongoing and beginning to take roots as far as leveraging our economic power as the fourth or fifth largest economy on this earth, not just in America, on this earth. So what does that mean to us as a people? We will know once we come together and all kind of strategies and whatever we have to come up with, I'm on board.
Well, we just gotta be ready. That's all.
Be ready, and do families do collaborative economics, because the next 4 years, right now, even Trump won, and the inflation is what it is. How are we gonna get by for the next 4 years? Sons, daughters, or one another. I mean, if you make enough money, good. That you feel you don't need no one, you don't need to collaborate. I mean, I'm not saying one way or the other, I'm just saying that's a thought. Because the trend is stock market's gonna go down, the Wall Street investors and all them, the oligarchs and all that, they're betting that there will potentially be a downturn in the economy. And we're less of on all aspects, so that means this possibility impact on us is going to be greater than some other communities. I don't know that, but if someone's already giving me a heads up, so I'm gonna try to start a survival plan on what I could do to cut back. And the thought of me saying cut back already is doing what? A ripple effect on saying less of buying a car, maybe buying furniture.
So the economy is slowing down.
Slowing down.
So I don't understand, why does everybody think that's a positive thing, a good thing?
AI is going to replace what you're hearing now.
But they said this ain't no good time to be buying houses. It's not a good time to be buying cars.
Well, with the tariff, Ms. Jacobs, a $30,000 cost with Trump's 25%, just say 10% is going to add $3,000, if I'm not mistaken on the math, to the value of that car. Not counting state, local, and taxes as well. So it could end up being about $4,500 in just taxes. And EPA for environmental tax gonna be included on that, and the gas tax. So to your point, Ms. Jacobs, it may not be feasible to think of getting a new vehicle for 6 to 7 years now at the interest rate that's going to be proposed. Now, what does that do when the cars slow down? The ripple effect. Every industry that helped produce that car employee is going to suffer as well. So they no longer need that many or that much. So it's a ripple effect that this man is bringing about due to his opinion.
Well, I told you, the guy at Walmart told me they're not getting their bonuses anymore because Walmart claims that they're saving up stock for the next 4 years. So they're taking their money to buy stock to keep the prices low, so that when the tariffs do hit, they won't have to increase their prices and lose market share. But who knows? None of this makes any sense to me.
But you know what? I listen to Al Sharpton every morning, and this lady came on from Atlanta. Now she said that 25 down in this, whatever the thing is with 25, she said that the landlords can charge you whatever they want to charge you. Say, for instance, if you got 1 bedroom, they can charge you $1,500 to $2,500, and nothing can be done about it. And she said, now this is what this lady said in Atlanta, Georgia. She said minimum wages is $5.80 an hour. Now this is what this lady said on Al Sharpton show.
Yeah.
In Atlanta?
But I'm saying landlords charge whatever they want anyway. So I don't get it.
Federal minimum wage is $7.25, Ms. Jacobs. $7.
That's the state.
Federal.
Federal, I mean.
$7.25 in the territories of the United States and the United States. You work federally, they can pay you $7.25. The proposal is to take it up to $17, $15 to $17. And rent on my block right now for 1 bedroom is anywhere $1,000 to $1,300.
Woo!
Now, I know about my block, and they fixing up them houses over there, so that, and one I know right now, that's just 5334, 500,000 2 flat, $500,000 2 flat, and they want 1,800 for a 3 bedroom, 1,800. Fixed up and they're beautiful, but that's what you're looking at.
Man.
Look at your rent subsidy program. NAILM for Austin is not paying what you could get unless you have kids of such disability and all that to really, they feel justified giving you that type of allocation. So person they got to pay 20% or 40% of 1,800.
My Lord.
So I'm just speaking in the hood. In the hood.
Right.
I know. Wow.
That would probably be 2,500. 2,500. East, the 5 geographical areas growing as far as the hot housing market is downtown, all the Wicker, West Loop, and just south of South Loop. Now, them is your hottest areas in the city. Just reported yesterday. So that's giving you some indication of what you're dealing with. And on the west side, I would say, no, pretty much you say that's west side area, where the stadium and all that, and they just begin to probably start back with the development. Look at development that's coming up there on Madison Street, there from Hamlin, that's coming west. That's gonna start coming up. Let's not be fooled now, the development is ongoing, so that's why I'm asking, or just putting out, that families now have historically been in our blocks as long as we've been here since the sixties or seventies, generations. We have to start looking at if we're gonna be in these communities, not just only being about being black, but can you survive economically to be in these communities? Because the one thing that changes community is the money. And when it changes the community because of money, we know what color or what gender or what nationality more likely it's going to be. See, they are. But to that, they may be like stock, buy cheap and sell high, because then the schools will have to improve and all that, and that's going to come along with the next wave. But more importantly, think of it like this. You cannot put the community up on governmental assistance, okay? Governmental assistance there to provide some relief, but you can't grow it and make a surviving community on governmental programs and assistance. So that's kind of an outlook of where we are. And it ain't my saying, it's what I'm reading. And the data is there. Do a zip code, zone improvement plan. That's all zip code means. They'll give them the track or the area and they'll tell you all you need to know.
Well, my taxes went up. So, Arnold, how old do you have to be before you start paying property taxes?
Well, the answer to that, I don't have an answer, to be honest with you. That's the one I'm going to look into since you brought it up. I'm gonna Google it. I left my phone at home. I'm glad you brought it up. But anyone out there can Google it and then provide answers, please share it with us on this conversation.
Because I know down south now, I think now I'm my sister, I was talking to her, she live in Alabama. Now I think she's like 80 something. Now she don't pay property taxes anymore.
Well, it could be, remember, you never own the land. Okay, remember, I think that's the concept in any thoughts of property tax. Like here in Chicago, Cook County, state of Illinois, we do not own the land. We pay a property tax to fix our fixed structure that we bought or built on the land, and as a result of renting this spot in that municipality, you pay to that municipality a rent or tax. That's what it is. Now moving to Alabama, if they're set up to where you own the land, obviously you ain't got to pay yourself. So that's the only two questions as it relates to that, okay? You don't owe yourself. And it could be in the South, when however it evolves, that you own the land.
I own a lot here, but I'm still paying taxes.
Okay, but think of it in those terms, okay? You say you own it. If it's here in Illinois or Chicago, and I'm just saying, the fact that you paying the tax means you don't own the land. You pay for that control or ownership of land, but under eminent domain, which the Supreme Court has upheld, they can tell you take that brick and mortar to do what you want with it. Well, we're coming for this land. So that goes against the thought, remember, of you owning your land. You follow me?
Yeah, I follow you.
Okay, so think of it, look into it. Again, this ain't hard, I'm saying, it's just what I've come to understand about that. Because it used to be until, that was a big issue until the Supreme Court ruled on it, and they gave the government or municipalities the right to do eminent domain, even when it came to TIF. Remember when all the TIF stuff come out about? And they said, no, municipalities have what they call eminent domain. If they feel it's better to have this versus that. Because I was in a discussion earlier with a neighbor talking about a cemetery. I say, you buy a plot to bury your loved one, and you have two choices. Either you cremate or you put them here in storage in the ground until the body decomposes, but you don't own that because the cemetery pays tax. It goes to municipality. So you're paying a fixed a bereavement box or a burial box on their land until such time. That's how all these cemeteries get dug up and moved, and they do development. See? So I'm just trying to get us to think ownership is one thing, rent is another. Whereas it ain't like you rent a house or a trailer or a car because you don't own it. There's more design. Ownership is what it is. Ownership.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So in
50 years later, they come and it's no more.
That's how I look out there on what's that, Harlem, all out of Riverside, how they took all them grades and they cut, and then you on one side, you got something. Well, how did that all develop? That's how it developed. Notified we need this land, and they contact people, say, well, you can come get your headstone or whatever. So the box will be of no value, and there ain't no remains, and that's decomposed, so that is what it is.
Yeah, I hear you.
Time is, like in Europe, nobody can own land in like in England. So you get 100-year lease. Your family gets 100-year lease, and at the end of that 100 years, the government gets that property back, unless they figure in, an heir, something like that can take it over. And we still get another 100-year lease by the government. But nobody owns like everybody say, I paid my property taxes and I own this land. No, you don't. They already have it figured out. At the end of the day, you really never have any true ownership.
And I got thinking, we was having that discussion. I said, man, that's deep. You don't think about it when you think about it,
Until you have to think about it.
Yeah, in this case, the neighbor was telling me about another one. I said, no.
Well, look at what happened with the White Sox park. When they moved across the street, they just placed all those people in it by eminent domain. They had to give it up.
Yeah,
Park.
yeah.
Baseball park. What does that really do? People had to lose their life, the way they live because of that. Yeah, and they got nothing for it.
Ownership is one thing, rent is another, but it's clear distinction. And I can, for the life of me, understand why I'm gonna tax myself or borrow from myself. You know what I'm saying?
That's why if you look at younger people now, they don't look at owning, they don't want condos and townhouses. And they're not really renting condos and townhouses. I mean, they're not selling them like they used to. They're just making big apartment complexes because the banking industry has figured out it's better to have, let's say, 100,000 landlords that control, 100 million properties, opposed to 100 million landlords that people that own, property that they would have to work their magic with and paperwork and all that. So, due to that crash in 08, 09, the banking industry figured it out. We'd rather just have so many people that own mortgages that pay us the same amount of money or more than having more people that we have to manage. And that's what they've been doing the last 15 plus years, trying to rectify and reorganize. Look at the new development over there on Harlem and North Avenue. They're not building townhouses or condos.
Ain't
They're
that-
building,
What is that building right there on North Avenue in Harlem?
it's a hospital, but they're building 100 and some apartment buildings right next to it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Yep. They're building apartment buildings. They're
But
not,
you understand what's happening here from a budgetary or investment standpoint. A person is more than likely gonna be sick and need some help than a person gonna need a house and a job. Why do I say that? If I had to invest in these, make a decision on investment, I look at everything.
mhm.
So now, in our community, you're working with less schooling, less housing, less health, just less everything. So, first you're gonna be need more help, then they're gonna be need what, housing and a job. Okay?
Mhm.
Because you gotta be healthy to do
To keep all of that,
anything
right.
else. See? So the investors are gonna be, well, these people, I ain't gotta worry about a downturn in time. Health don't never have a downturn.
Right.
See? And you can see what's happening. So they hedging their bet that I'm gonna have business for people being sick
Mhm.
and unhealthy than it is for someone if I build these houses, then the economy go bad, and now I'm stuck with this fixed structure that I devalue just to get rid of and lose money, or if they ain't working, they can't afford to pay rent or get this house anyway.
Mhm.
See, so that decision was made clear. Because again, if they're gonna build a house, it's gonna have to be a wholesome effort to look at everything that was surrounding the development and look at the percentages of it being successful versus it being unsuccessful. Because there's only so much you can draw from
Mhm.
in a geographical area, so to speak, to make your decision. You don't make no rational decision. You're gonna make your decision based on what's gonna give you the
Dollars
greatest
and cents.
percentage. Yeah,
And that's what they're doing.
that's what they're doing. That's why you see.
I don't know if everybody remembers 20 years ago, every corner they were throwing a CVS and a Walgreens.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
That's because they had figured the healthcare industry was going to be to the point where they were going to make billions off of people because the way the healthcare industry was going. But what they didn't count was one of the things being COVID, where you lost all the people they had calculated for. And the other thing was they didn't really anticipate that they were looking at people living longer, which a lot of that didn't go that way. So they started closing the Walgreens and the CVS. I remember at one point there was three Walgreens. Walgreens on Harlem and North. They had a Mr. White was the manager over there. On the Walgreens on Laramie and Madison, there was a Mr. Black that was the manager over there, and there was a Mr. Green that was the manager at the Walgreens on Central and North Avenue. And I thought it was the most craziest thing. They all had color names: white, black, and green. And they were just building all these Walgreens on every corner. I mean, at one point you could go down North Avenue. There was a Walgreens on North and Central. There was a Walgreens on Mayfield and North Avenue. There was a Walgreens on North Avenue and Mobile. There was a Walgreens on where else? Harlem and North. Walgreens. Same thing with Starbucks. They were trying to really, when they say corner the market, they were trying to get one on every corner to get the market, but things didn't quite go the way that they thought economically, and
The coffee, look at what coffee's on sale for you, go get a cup of morning Joe now.
what's coffee going for? I don't know.
It's high because of that tariff,
Oh, really?
yeah. Everything, just cross, don't matter. Speaking of
Yeah.
Walgreens closing, just think of all them jobs, products in the industry.
Right.
Impact. There's no longer need less of, means less of. You can't just say only this or that, it's gonna impact the whole.
I don't know what people were thinking. You know, the greed of people, promoted them to vote the way they voted, and now we're gonna deal with the ramifications of it by more job loss. You know, more
And it's self-inflicted,
poor people.
it's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
And we're not saying beyond the normal inflationary pressures due to global demand and, you know, expectations of, you know, products and goods and materials coming in, and, you know. So, and labor, so that means all these unions, they're, you know, cars,
Guy called me this last week. David called me. He said, "Man, we got laid off. You got any work for me? You got anything politically going on?" And I'm like, "Not in the city. We don't have." He said, "In the suburbs, they got an election season going." I'm like, "Really?" But then I found out where he worked. He works for the automotive industry. He got laid off.
So the prospect of the Democrats or the House of Representatives going Democrat next election, I don't think it's any question. Like it was when it went, or when Biden was, you know. But people did not understand coming out of a pandemic, you open up the global economy. Everybody that was cool say, well, we ain't going to work, we ain't doing nothing, we don't need nothing. I'm just laying put, hoping to get over and live, so for a better day. Not that I'm worried about my wages and all that, but gas was 89 cents a gallon. I hadn't seen no 89 cents a gallon for gas since the 60s.
That was based on demand.
But wasn't no demand. The whole earth was shut down.
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
There was no demand, so they had to get rid of the supply that they had because there was no demand.
They were burning oil because they couldn't store it enough. So they would burn it and lose the environment, you know, on the down low, hoping, you know, it wouldn't be, but people were worried about living.
Well, I mean, like you said, it's weird to me, but I don't know if most of you would agree. If you lose a job, I think that puts you in a category of poor. Unless you're just independently wealthy and the job you had, you really need it no way. But 99% of the people that have jobs, they need that money or they would put them in the poorhouse within months, if not the same day. So I don't know what people were thinking, you know. The trajectory we're going on, you know, I don't know.
You know, hopefully we can educate one another to what's going on and look at things, review things from an analytical standpoint, not give my opinion other than I address it to the best of what I've learned, or I happen to know something about it through personal experience, but I'm not going to be sitting here having an opportunity to talk with one another and listen to one another and just rattle off at the mouth for any personal reason that I feel one way or the other. I just want to understand facts are what they are.
Right. Well, let's be real. If you lose a job, you become poor. You become poor, you need money. Then what people start doing? Crime goes up. We already got enough crime. I mean, typically what happens, look at what happened the other day down, what was that, in Lawndale somewhere? with the garbage man. They tried to rob the garbage man, and he shot
Yes,
him
I
dead.
saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Well, in Norwood Park,
But he got off on one. So he laid one to rest.
Oh,
oh, okay.
Yes, he did.
what was it at?
Lundale, somewhere down, Lundale down there somewhere.
Somewhere in Lawndale, and it was the recycle man. Yeah, it was the recycle truck guy.
So he had a weapon
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But he had a weapon. That's
Oh,
how.
most definitely he did.
Yeah,
I
I said he laid one to rest, and the other one got shot.
It can cause serious
He,
side
he killed the 40-year-old, and the 20-some-year-old. He's in the hospital.
Yeah, he went to the back of the truck to pull some trash, and on the outside because they stopped the truck and they stopped to get out, and they tried to catch him in the back, and he pulled his weapon on them, and they didn't want to. They started to struggle with him, and he shot one in the head, point blank. He struggled with him. The other guy he shot again, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But
That's going to send ripple effects through that whole.
yeah, but I mean, again, this is what we become now. We rob the trash man. The man that picks up trash, what does he have? Trash. What does he have that you need? That you're gonna rob the trash man? You're gonna tell?
Oh man, no, Steve. Last week, they walked up on this 80-some-year-old man out south and shot him. He gave him his car, he gave him his wallet, he gave him everything, and they still killed him.
That's what happened because I couldn't figure. No, I didn't understand what happened with the 80-year-old. They didn't ever say. But yeah, I mean, there you go. This is what we're running into, and it's going to get worse if people don't have money, and the price of goods and services go up astronomically. So I mean, but this is what the powers that be that's in line and in structure. You know, everybody talk about, oh, my check's going to get bigger with Trump. Trump's going to give me more tax breaks.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Those investors or these 401s, 101s, whatever you want to call them, just all of my suggestion is talk back with your financial advisor for a 5 or 10-year outlook, because look what it took in regards to when the economy shut down and to kind of recoup what had been lost during the pandemic. At least 40 to 60% of those plans. Now they bounced back and doubled to give them some relief and a little more, bring them back. But under this next economic downturn, if it occurs and happens, I don't know. I ain't wishing or wanting, but I'm just saying, people that's into that, my suggestion to those out there listening, talk with them and ask the questions that make sense.
You ever notice though when there is a political party change and power, one thing that never changes is street life. People selling drugs, still selling drugs.
Sure.
More or less. People doing crime, still doing crime.
Yeah.
More or less. It ain't never less. I ain't gonna say less, but I'm just like, I haven't noticed anything when political parties change.
Gonna say them future pharmacists.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, they talk about, oh, we're gonna change the economy. Well, their economy never changes. It stays what it is. If not, I guess the more depressed people are, the more people buy drugs, so it probably goes up for them. You know, you got more users, more clients.
Well, there's a study saying there's some correlation with that.
Yeah.
People do drugs and all for some other reasons as well.
But I'm just saying, you know, I don't know what. I had to talk with an individual. She said to me that, you know, Trump. She said that Democrats. She was mad at the Democrats because they didn't show up to flake their base. the Democrats did what they did. They lost. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's how it goes, I guess. But the end result is you can't blame the party. You got to blame the voters. The voters have spoken. Voters said and did what they want to do. So to blame the party, I don't know about that one. Then she went on to say, well, I think Trump's going to take care of all of these illegals and all this and that. I said, well, really, is that what's keeping you up at night and preventing you from eating and preventing you from having a place to stay? Well, no, look at the guys down the street selling drugs. They could have given those guys a Section 8 instead of giving it to the Venezuelans. I'm like, really? That's what they stay up at night worrying about. Why they didn't give me a Section 8? I don't think they worried about that. They worried about doing what they're doing out there in the middle of the streets, hustling, selling drugs, carrying pistols and shooting at each other, being, living the life they're living. That's what they worry about. They don't worry about a Section 8 or getting an extra $1,500. Well, they could have given $1,500 a month. Really? And and look, let me just say this. You give those guys an extra $1,500 a month, and I'm not saying all of them will, but the majority would. They're gonna take that $1,500 and flip it into some more drugs and sell even more drugs. So, what are we talking about? The boogeyman ain't the other man. The boogeyman is the man that's in charge that told you that everybody else was the boogeyman. I don't know. I don't get what people don't get. I'm like, we've seen this dance before. What is so confusing about it? But everybody has their own self-interest. They worry about their own self-interest. All politics are local. And at the end of the day, it's all based on interest. But sometimes you got to look at, I did a press conference with Congressman Davis this Friday in rebuttal to what's going on with the president. And I just plainly said that, hey, we've been bamboozled, led them up, led astray, and lied to. And if you think the boogeyman is the other man, you better start thinking again. Everybody wants to believe that it's not them. I went on to talk about how a couple Muslim guys I knew, they came by NAC, and the first thing they said to me, hey Steve, they were kind of elated too. They were like, hey Steve, we got a ceasefire in Palestine, in Ramallah, in Gaza, in the Middle East. And I was like, really? I said, but you do understand a ceasefire, all that really means is they're taking time to reload because they ain't stopped. That just means, hold on a minute. I got to get more weapons and more ammo so I can drop them on you. And he was like, look at my phone. Look at the people going back. They're going back to Gaza. They're going back to Ramallah. And I'm saying, man, this is amazing. And look, you ever seen the movie The Ten Commandments when everybody crossed the Red Sea and it was a caravan of people? It looked just like that. Tens of thousands of people for miles. And I said, where are they going? They're going back to clean up. I said, wait a minute. They're going back to the target zone? Yeah, they're clean. And then when they showed them cleaning up with like little whisk brooms and stuff, I'm like, this is rubble. So now they got everybody right where they want them. So when they drop the next bomb, they ain't got to worry about where I'm like, am I missing something here? Because the man and then I went on to ask the next question. I said, let me get off this political side of it. And because they were happy for that. And I said, what do you think of this president? And these are Muslims. They said, oh, this guy's going to take care of the country. This president's going to get the country in order. I said, wait a minute. You do realize you're on the menu, don't you? I said, you think you're exempt from the menu? You just told me that this man couldn't even garner or muster up
There's a ban on that.
on what?
Coming to this country.
Well, he started the Muslim ban years ago. But my point was, here it is a man that you couldn't even count on to have him stop the war. He said he could stop the war I could stop it in 3 days. But that's a lie. and you still believe this man gonna do what to help you? And you a Muslim? I'm like, you do understand you are on the menu. Matter of fact, you might be the main course on the menu. You want to believe it's other people. It's Venezuelans. I don't care about them. He's going to get them together. And then the Venezuelans, well, I don't care about the black people because they're just here for no reason. And then the black people, well, I don't care about all the other people because they're just, it's like everybody on the menu. But nobody wants to understand that. They just want to continue to go down their own lane and point fingers at everybody else. And then when they get hit with the big whoop bop the bam, well, hold on, wait a minute. How come nobody's coming to our rescue? What? Really? Because you vote against your own interests. That's why. And they proved to me they voted against their own interests. And one of the guys is a doctor. I know he voted against his own interests. Because he was so adamant. Yeah, but Trump's going to get this country. Where are you from? Where are you from? Seriously. But this is what we're living. Yes, indeed, y'all. Anyway, hey, Barry, what you been talking about? What you going with? Barry, we ain't heard from you. Everybody want to hear from you, Barry. What you got in conclusion?
Hey guys.
Hey, Barry.
Hey.
Look at him.
Miss Jacobs.
Look at him, y'all. He got a nice tan on him.
Man, you just living the life, huh?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, I can't stand that. It just so disgusts me. And all what you were talking about before about the flood money, essentially we're in this time where it's more for me and less for you. That's the philosophy. Whatever you're entitled to, you're going to get less. And the more me, the powerful guy, is going to get. And that's the way it is. That's what we're. Okay.
Yeah. That's sad to say. Nobody really wants to understand that, but that's what it boils down to. Anyway, y'all, what you got in conclusion, Ella?
Be safe, Barry.
What's that?
Be safe.
You too. Arnold, good to hear your voice.
Absolutely. What you say there, Ella? Miss Houston, what do you have?
Yeah. By the way, when I come back, there's probably going to be a tariff on me.
Yeah, there's tariff on enjoyment. If you have any enjoyment or pleasure, you have to tax that.
Ball is the black or swirl on the top. Maybe if that's purple.
All right, Ella, what you got in conclusion?
Oh, nothing much except that, yeah, I knew we didn't own the land or that your property was built on. But
Actually, I think we do own the land, but the government still has the right of eminent domain, and they've got the right to tax us.
I think if my house burned to the ground, I have to get special permission to build it back up, right?
Yeah, all that permit stuff, that's the power they have. But we still own the land. But
Oh, okay.
Land ownership is a huge problem, and the problem is, it's all part of this, more for them and less for us.
Okay.
And it's getting worse and worse.
There it is.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Miss Jacobs, you were saying something. Sorry for interrupting you.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, it was Ella.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Sorry, Ella.
That's okay. No problem. No problem. But I enjoyed tonight. It was nice and peaceful.
It's like Pittsburgh, huh?
Yeah.
What's going on? Anything in conclusion, Miss Jacobs?
Well, I say it's gonna be all right. Because you know what? We got somebody up there looking down. He looking down. And we're gonna be all right. God got his time. It's not our time, it's God's time. And we're gonna be all right.
There you go.
Well, thanks, Miss Jacobs. That's heartening to hear.
Dr. Ibrahim, anything in conclusion?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey.
Hey, Raheem.
Hey, what's up, Barry? Where are you at? I know you were saying when you come back.
Dominican Republic.
Okay.
That's why I was saying when I come back, there's going to be a tariff on me.
How long you down there?
We're going to be coming back this coming Sunday, a week from today.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Sounds like fun, man.
Yeah, they're gonna put a
Oh,
tax.
man.
They're gonna put a tax
Man,
on smiles. You come back with a big smile, you pay a bigger tax. Come back with a smaller smile, you pay a smaller tax. That's the smile tax.
No, if he in the DR, he gonna have a big smile on his face coming back.
no, I don't think you're right. I'm going to be crying.
Coming back, yeah.
No, I mean, it's just really a relief. I mean, I've just been too wrapped up in this stuff. And in any case,
Yeah, you needed to get away.
yeah, sure did.
I feel that. Nah, well, but Steve, I don't really have too much, man. Good show again, you all. A lot of good information.
Raheem, I'm wondering what your perspective is on these days. How do you think it's going?
You said how is it going?
Yeah, what the big change since I spoke to you last is Trump is in and his administration, and I'm just wondering what your perspective is on it.
No, I kind of had the feeling that Trump was going to win. I said this probably like 2 years ago. Not to say that I wanted him to win, but
No, I mean now that he is in, is it the way you expected it to go, or is it different than you expected?
yeah, he doing the same thing that he did the first time, signing all these little bullcrap executive orders. So for the next rest of his time being in office, is probably they're gonna be talking about litigations and like what's legal for him to do and all that type of stuff. So I mean, it's the same. It's the same script, the same thing.
Oh, really?
Same old,
Yeah, it feels more intense to me than the first time.
I think just this time we had 4 years to think about it. So like we went through the whole first 4 years of Trump, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this was terrible. So then Biden got in, and then we had another 4 years, and just like the thought of him getting back in kind of frightened a lot of people. So now that he's back in, that fear is like paramount. So I think that's why I feel like it feel different, or it feel more intense.
Oh, because you think of the fear that's being generated.
Yeah, it's like if when you was a little kid and you got in trouble and your
Yeah,
mother said,
yeah,
wait till your
right,
father get home.
right.
So that how many hours it takes for your father to get home, you
Yeah,
anticipate what's gonna happen when he get here. So now that he
yeah.
here, it's terror.
And my sense is that the media is the one that's putting out that message constantly. Wait till your father is home, And now, you know, what you feared most is happening right now.
Of course, the media is doing that. I give you a
What's
good
that?
example. Of course, the media is behind it all. I give you a good example. A couple weeks ago, it was said that Representative LaShawn Ford has put out a bill to have the mayor recalled. So guess what happens? I had a meeting with the mayor and Representative LaShawn Ford and the congressman and the alderman and everybody else that's a black politician on the west side this Friday. Guess who's sitting right next to the mayor? I'm sitting within arm's length from the mayor in front of me, and LaShawn's sitting right to the left of the mayor. So the mayor jumps up, and when he gets on the mic, he says, well, you know, I like to thank all the elected officials here, especially the state reps, you know. State reps, they're known for doing their jobs, and one of the primary functions of their job is to create bills. And much like the bill that was created to recall the mayor, that's what he said. But I want to let everybody know that bill wasn't directed towards me. It actually came out 10 years ago when Rahm Emanuel was mayor. And then Representative Ford stood up and he said, he is exactly right. They kind of shook each other's hands and hugged each other. And he said, I never created this bill to recall Mayor Johnson. I created this bill in case anyone in the state of Illinois had to have a reason to recall any mayor. And the media just put it out that a week ago, I put out a bill to recall Mayor Johnson. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way they stated it. And that's the way it came off. So it's good to know that they rectified that comment. And
Yeah, they do try to spin it on us.
Yeah, the media is gonna always try to, dramatize things and make it more than it is, and we've seen that playbook, that play from the playbook many times. So, we have to be very careful. But anyway, anybody else? If not, we're gonna conclude out and close out. I titled this show. We're in February, y'all, but all I'm really trying to say is the first quarter is almost halfway done. If you look at we're going into the second month, and next thing we'll know, it'll be spring and summertime. So with that said, you got to prepare for everything, everybody. Hey, like Miss Jacobs said, God has it all in His hands, and we just have to be there.
That's right. That's right.
And happy Black History Month.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Happy Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
There's I'm gonna let everybody know there's a biography called West Side Burning, and you should check it out. And Congressman's in it. I think it's fairly new because I've seen the suit and tie he had on. It looks like the one I've seen him in recently. And they talk about how the West Side during the King riots started to erupt into fires and what really happened. Other than it being based around Dr. King's assassination, but they talked about which Tiny had told me about this. There were two other riots. There was a riot in '65, and there was one in '66, way before the King riots, which was in '68. And they had spurred up based on a couple other things. I think a lady had got killed by a fire truck, and then something else happened with some policemen killing somebody on the west side. But they all started over by the Village and over in Lawndale back then. But yeah, check it out. It's on YouTube. It's called West Side Burning. And
were you here, Steve? Well, how old were you? Like 3 or something? Were you in Chicago?
No, see, that's my whole history with Chicago is after the riots. Because when I came to Chicago, I saw it all charred and burned out, as a kid. But I just thought it was supposed to look like that. I didn't know nothing about a riot here. I was only 3, 4 years old. But I remember seeing at Madison Street and everything. And I didn't realize, my brother told me about 4 or 5 years ago, because we came up, my sister had come up with my oldest brother, and she had gotten pregnant, and we all decided to come up. My mom wanted to come up and help her raise her kid. And we all packed up, the rest of us, the 4 of us came up and moved up, left everything, came up from Mobile. And I didn't realize we got here in October of '68, you know, just 4 or 5 months prior, there was a big riot, you know. I just didn't understand that. But I saw the remnants of it, but I just didn't, you know, I just played, man, this place looks like this, you know. And my brother told me, he said, no, we got here with the riots happened in April, so April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So 6 months prior, there was a big, you know, the King riots. We came in October of '68. Yeah. And the people that have been here, you know, they wrote, man, you gotta watch it. It's literally called what did I say it was?
West Side Burning.
Yeah, West Side Burning, and make sure.
What channel is it gonna be on and when it gonna be?
Yeah,
It's
is it PBS?
It's called When the West Side Burned. It's on
When
PBS.
and what channel?
It's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube, but it was on PBS channel 11, I guess.
Oh, okay.
It's about an hour.
You know,
So
you know, you can watch the same films on Bing, and then you don't have to watch the ads.
Okay.
because there were quite a few ads. But yeah, check it out. It's you'll see a lot of historical things on there. Places they focus in on Madison, Pulaski. They focus in on Garfield Park. They focus in on Marshall High School. They focus in on Kedzie and Madison. They focus in on Austin High School. They focus in on Madison and Central. You know, Roosevelt, which was a shopping district at one point. But yeah, check it out, y'all. It's a different perspective of the King riot, you know, from the West Side perspective, which is another thing, because I always thought blacks rioted all over the city, but I guess the biggest focus of rioting was on the West Side, not so much out South. Yeah. But all right, y'all. In conclusion, as we always,
good night, everybody.
yeah, as we always say, and DeAndre always say, you know, they didn't want to give a seat at the table, so we had to create our own. And as we do from 6 to 8 o'clock every Sunday at this location, Northwest Austin Council, we like to welcome you back next weekend to Northwest Austin Council. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Happy Black History Month.
Yeah, we got to do that thoroughly. Yeah, we definitely will. We will definitely do that. DeAndre will be back next Sunday. All right, y'all. Take it easy. Good
All
night.
right.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.